In March 25, a first-generation entrepreneur from Nagpur in India, that is from Maharashtra, applied for a CGTMSE backed loan. That's just rupees 25 lakh. A manufacturing unit, complete documentation, project report prepared by a chartered accountant, eligible under every published guideline. He was rejected in 11 days. No explanation beyond internal assessment. Here is what nobody tells you. The rejection was not about his paperwork. It was not about his project report. It was not about his CIBIL score, which was 742. The rejection happened the moment he walked into the branch manager's cabin and said 6 words. Sir, I need a loan, please. Psychologists call this the subordinate positioning error, and it kills more MSME loan applications than bad credit ever will. This video is a forensic audit of what actually happens inside a CGTMSE evaluation, what the bank sees, what the bank fears, and the behavioral framework that turns rejection into approval. Actually, what CGTMSE, the version banks don't explain to you. Let us start with the architecture. CGTMSE, the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises, a government-backed scheme. Here is the official version. You apply for an MSME loan up to rupees 5 crore. No collateral, no third-party guarantee. The government covers 75 to 85% of your default. The bank is protected. You get funded. Everyone wins. That is the brochure. Here is the behavioral reality. The moment the government absorbs most of the default risk, the bank's incentive structure shifts. Before CGTMSE, a loan rejection meant the bank lost a potential revenue stream. The manager had to justify saying no. After CGTMSE, rejection is costless to the bank. But approval creates a liability trail. If you default, even with the guarantee covering 85%, the manager still has to file paperwork explaining why he approved you. Rejection requires zero explanation. Approval requires defense. This is what behavioral economists call asymmetric accountability. The bank manager bears all the downside of approval and none of the downside of rejection. So he defaults to rejection. Not because you are a bad borrower, because rejection is the path of least psychological friction. You may be a very good entrepreneur, a very good business potential, a very good invention mind. And he will never tell you this. He cannot. The system does not permit honesty about the system. Instead, you get 3 words. We will get back to you. The behavioral assessment you don't know you are taking. When you walk into a bank manager's office, you believe you are presenting a loan application. Actually, you are not. You are being administered a behavioral assessment. It has no name. There is no written test, but the manager's brain is running a diagnostic in the first 60 seconds, and it is evaluating 3 variables. Variable 1, status display. Variable 2, backup signal. Variable 3, escalation risk. Variable 1, status display. How do you carry yourself? Do you sit forward or lean back? Do you wait to be offered water or do you ask? Do you maintain eye contact or defer? Every non-verbal signal is being mapped to a risk profile. A borrower who displays low status is subconsciously assessed as a borrower who cannot negotiate. And a borrower who cannot negotiate is a borrower who cannot recover from business stress. Variable 2, backup signal. The manager is measuring whether you have alternatives. A borrower who mentions evaluating other bank is a customer. A borrower who acts like this is his only option is a supplicant. Not an applicant, you are a supplicant. The manager's brain registers the difference in less than 10 seconds and the supplicant gets the rejection. Not because the supplicant is less qualified, because the supplicant signals that he will accept the rejection quietly. Psychologists call this the authority compliance trap. The more respectfully you ask, the less seriously you are taken. This is not a moral judgment on politeness. It is a forensic observation about power dynamics in lending institutions. The data bears it out. Borrowers who ask zero questioning during the first meeting have a rejection rate 50 to 70% higher than borrowers who ask at least 3. Variable 3. Escalation risk. The manager is asking himself a silent question. If I reject this applicant, will he escalate? Will he contact the regional office? Will he file an RTA? Will he make noise? Or will he disappear quietly? Here is what nobody tells you. The CGTMSE grievances mechanism exists. The banking ombudsman exists. The RBI's 15-day response mandate exists. But the bank counts on you not knowing any of this. Your ignorance is not a byproduct of the system. It's a feature. Now section 3, the 5 psychological mistakes that kill your application. Error 1, the humility error. You frame the meeting as a request. Sir, हमें मौका दीजिए. Sir, please consider. Every differential word is a data point. The bank's mental model translates politeness into probability of default. Here is the psychological mechanism. In hierarchical societies, and India is among the most hierarchical, we are conditioned to display deference to authority as a survival adaptation. It works in families, it works in classrooms, it fails catastrophically in financial negotiations. Yes, it fails catastrophically in India in financial negotiations. Now error number 2, the preparation inversion. Most borrowers spend weeks on the project report and 0 hours on the conversation. They prepare the documents. They do not prepare dialogue. They know their projected EBITDA for year 3. They do not know how to respond when the manager says, "Hum dekh lenge." The project report is 20 pages. The conversation is 4 minutes. Guess which one determines your outcome? Error 3, the single bank dependency. When you apply to only one bank, your psychology shifts. You become attached to the outcome. The attachment reads as desperation. That desperation reads as risk. Apply to 3 banks simultaneously, not because you need 3 loans, because you need the psychological posture of a person with options. The posture changes everything. Error 4, the follow-up failure. The RBI mandates a response within 15 working days for MSME loans. Most borrowers wait 30 days, some wait 60. They internalize the silence as rejection before it is officially given. Psychologists call this anticipatory defeat. The bank exploits it. A borrower who follows up on day 16 is treated differently from a borrower who follows up on day 30. The first is a problem, the second is a statistic. Now error 5. The narrative vacuum. You submit documents. You do not submit a story. The bank manager sees 30 applications a month. They blur together. The one that gets approved is the one the manager can explain to his manager. You must give him a narrative he can repeat. This applicant is solving a supply chain gap in tier 3 auto components. That's a story. This applicant wants a loan for business. That's a file. Now section 4. 3 case studies. These are anonymized. It's a real case studies, but I am not telling the real names. Next case A. Pharmaceutical distribution unit in a tier 2 city. Applicant, a 31-year-old male. First generation entrepreneur. CIBIL score 768. CGTMSE application for rupees 30 lakh. Rejected after 22 days. Reason stated, business viability concerns. Forensic analysis. The applicant submitted a project report projecting a 28% year 1 growth in a market growing at 6%. The bank's credit officer flagged the projection as unrealistic, not because he analyzed the business model, but because the number violates a heuristic. It violated a heuristic. The applicant was not lying. He was displaying ambition. The bank read ambition as naivety. Approval was never considered because the project report made the officer feel inadequate. Psychologists call this the competence threat response. An evaluator who does not understand your industry will default to rejection rather than admit he does not understand. Resolution. What is the resolution for this? As a psychologist, as a forensic psychologist, I can tell you, revise your projections to 12%. Reapply. Approved in 14 days. Same business, same applicant, different number. One that did not threaten the evaluative self-perception. Now, case B. A food processing startup, Maharashtra. Applicant, a 28-year-old female, MBA graduate. CGTMSE application for rupees 50 lakh. Rejected. Reason? Insufficient experience. Forensic analysis I am giving to you. The applicant had 3 years of industry experience. The real variable was not experience, it was gender. Female MSME applicants face an average rejection rate 18% higher than male applicants with identical documentation. Not because of written policy, but because of the manager's implicit risk model. When women are perceived as higher default risk, despite data showing female entrepreneurs have lower NPS, the applicant was fighting a bias encoded in the manager's mental software, not in any bank circular. What is the resolution? Bring a male co-applicant, her operations set to the second meeting, same documents, different face at the table, approved. Now case 3. This is the most instructive. Auto component manufacturer in Gujarat. Applicant is a 45-year-old with 18 years of industry experience. CGTMSE application for 75 lakh rupees. His project report was flawless. His CIBIL score was 801. He was rejected. Reason? Incomplete documentation. Here is what actually happened. On inquiry, and this applicant escalated. The bank had lost one document internally. The Udyam registration certificate. Instead of requesting it, the credit officer marked the file as incomplete. The applicant discovered this only after filing an RTA requesting the internal assessment notes. The RTA cost him 10 rupees and 3 weeks. It recovered a 75 lakh loan. The psychological lesson. The bank's errors are structural, not personal. The system generates rejection as a default output. Your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to be the applicant who checks the system's work. Now, if you are recognizing yourself in any of these arrays, if you have been nodding, waiting, accepting silence as an answer, then the second half of this video is your forensic playbook. Because understanding why the system rejects you is step 1. Reversing the dynamic is step 2. And that is what's next. But before we get there, if this diagnostic clarity is valuable to you, hit subscribe. This is the only channel on YouTube applying forensic psychology to Indian financial systems. The series continues. The forensic playbook. 6 interventions. Intervention 1. Reframe the meeting before it begins. When you sit down, do not start with your documents. Start with a positioning statement. Here is the language I am giving to you. I am evaluating 3 banks for this facility. I need you to understand your processing timeline and the specific CGTMSE documentation your branch requires. You have just done 4 things simultaneously. You have signaled alternatives. You have reframed yourself from applicant to customer. You have demonstrated knowledge of the scheme's name, which filters you out of the ignorant borrower category instantly. And you have put the manager in a position where he must provide specific information, not vague delay tactics. Intervention 2. Ask exactly 3 questions in the first meeting. Any 3. What matters is not the content, it is a pattern. A borrower who asks questions is a borrower who will follow up. A borrower who will follow up is a borrower who might escalate. A borrower who might escalate is a borrower the manager would rather approve than fight. This is called the deterrence gradient. You are not threatening anyone. You are signaling that you understand how the system works and you will use it. Intervention 3. Apply to 3 banks simultaneously. This is not a suggestion. It is a structural necessity. The CGTMSE portal allows multiple applications. Use it. When Bank A knows you are also speaking to Bank B and Bank C, the competitive dynamic activates. The manager's fear of losing a customer overrides his default instinct to reject. This is behavioral economics, not manipulation. Intervention 4. Follow up on day 16, not day 30. Write an email, reference the RBI circular on MSME loan processing timelines. Copy the regional office if you receive no response within 48 hours. Most borrowers are afraid of being seen as aggressive. The system rewards the opposite. The borrowers who get approved are the ones who make rejection expensive. Intervention 5. Build your narrative. Before you walk in, write one paragraph. Not about your financials, about why your business exists, who it serves, what problem it solves that nobody else is solving. The manager needs a story he can tell his credit committee. Give it to him. Make him your advocate by giving him the language of advocacy. Intervention 6. If you are rejected, file an RTA requesting the internal assessment notes. This costs between 10 and 50 rupees. It forces the bank to produce its reasoning in writing. In a significant number of cases, the reasoning is either incomplete or indefensible, at which point you have grounds for appeal to the banking ombudsman. Most borrowers accept rejection as final. It is not final, it is the beginning of a formal process that most borrowers never initiate. The architecture of rejection. The CGTMSE scheme is not broken. The psychology around it is. That is broken. The psychology is broken. A system designed to support small businesses has been layered onto an institutional culture that defaults to rejection. The gap between the policy and the practice is vast, and that gap is navigated not by better paperwork, but by understanding the behavioral incentives operating on every bank official who touches your life. The bank is not a building, it is a behavioral system. The bank manager is not an adversary, he is an actor responding to incentives that are overwhelmingly aligned towards saying no. Your application does not fail because you are unqualified. It fails because the system's default output is rejection, and you have not yet learned how to override that default. Here is a summary in one sentence. Stop applying like a borrower. Start negotiating like a customer with alternatives, information, and the willingness to escalate. The forensic psychology of Indian banking is a series. This was a CGTMSE deep dive. But there is a darker mechanism at work, one that operates before you even apply. It is a psychological architecture of the CIBIL score, how a 3-digit number was designed not to assess you, but to control you. That one is next. Subscribe. Thank you.